The newly elected president of Brazil, Lula da Silva's trip to the US just came to an end. For the West, this visit might have been the moment when Lula would falter before the mighty empire. But Lula didn't live up to the expectations. He's not the one who would bow down like an obedient dog. He made one thing very, very clear. For him, Brazil's interests are foremost. His strong rebuke to Biden on Russia-Ukraine war isn't going to be forgotten anytime soon. This is a story of Biden's humiliation. Hi and welcome to TFIGlobal Latin America, TFIGlobal's channel dedicated to the America in the Americas. I'm your host Michael. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and press the bell icon to get all the latest updates. If you're watching us on Facebook, do like, share and follow the page. Let's begin. When Brazil's president Lula went to the US, he would have hoped for cooperation between the countries. After all, Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro had strained relationship with the US after he supported Trump, despite Biden being in the office. Bolsonaro even supported the Capitol riots, the alleged attempted coup in US. One would expect a reset in ties after a major overhaul, but only if Biden was sane and Washington was a little less hostile. US President Biden's obsession with the Russia-Ukraine war is unending. Whoever Biden meets with, he tries to persuade countries to deplore Russia. He also asked them to send weapons to Ukraine, and this time was no different. Biden wanted Brazil to send weapons to Ukraine to help fight Russia. However, in a stunning display of political acumen and skill, Lula rebuked him with a clarity and conviction that left the US president dumbstruck. Along with South Africa, India and other significant democratic nations, Brazil has urged for a peaceful settlement to the crisis while mostly staying out of it. Basically what any responsible leader should do, but that's an alien concept for the states. The discussion on the Ukraine war became a major point of disagreement between Biden and Lula. Not only did Lula deny sending weapons to Ukraine, he proposed to establish peace in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Lula read the memo, tore it into pieces and threw them in Biden's face. He said, "I don't want to join the war, I want to end the war." In an interview with CNN, he added that in his meeting with Mr. Biden, "I don't know what he's going to say to me, but what I'm going to say to him, it is necessary to build a set of countries to negotiate peace." Later that day, he tweeted, "I told President Biden what I had already said to President Emmanuel Macron and the Chancellor Olaf Scholz about the need to create a group to work for peace and the end of war in the world. It is necessary to stop shooting, if not there is no solution." That's gutsy. As expected, US didn't look very enthusiastic about the idea. John Kirby, the White House national security spokesperson, in a different interview with CNN said that Mr. Lula's opinion did not accurately reflect the current status of the conflict. He said, "We don't see any impetus right now to get to the negotiating table, blah blah blah." Of course you don't, Kirby. If the war stops, it would hurt your trillion-dollar military industry complex. It would hurt your $100 billion of LNG exports to Europe, which you've increased dramatically since the beginning of the war. It would also hurt your efforts to deindustrialize Europe, which is seeing its companies shifting their operations to the US. The war helps the US to live in the nostalgia of the Cold War. All in all, US has been a major profiteer of the Ukraine war. Why would you want it to stop, Biden? This isn't the first time when Lula has shot down West's efforts to fuel Ukraine war. In his election campaign, he sneered at Biden. How can the world's largest economic power say that it has no milk for children after President Biden announced $40 billion to buy arms meant for the war in Ukraine? He has also criticized Biden's leadership. He said that the United States has a lot of political clout. The clout could be used to put an end to the war and not incite it. He said Biden could have taken a plane to Moscow to talk to Putin. This is the kind of attitude you expect from a leader. That's not all. In October, Lula had said the only position that interests Brazil in terms of the question of Ukraine and Russia is peace. And how could he leave out the belle of the ball, Zelensky? Lula criticized Western media's favorite man of the season, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. "I see the President of Ukraine speaking on television, being applauded, getting a standing ovation by all the European parliamentarians. This guy is as responsible as Putin for the war." He had not even spared the EU. He said that the war could be avoided had EU and the US assured Russia that Ukraine won't join NATO. Lula said it's not just Putin who is guilty, the US and the EU are also guilty. Clearly, Lula means business. He's no Macron or Scholz. He can't be pushed around. He understands that it makes no sense for Brazil to fight West's war against Russia, a war that is more than 11,000 kilometers away from Brazil. He made sure to make it clear to the US. Lula showed Biden who's the boss on his own turf. He just can't stop winning.